Hi, everyone. I'm Laura Collins, the athlete psychotherapist. What an incredibly hopeful time that you're in right now as you're applying for colleges, looking at colleges, talking with recruiters. So many wonderful and exciting things happening for you. I totally remember being there when I was in high school as well, being recruited by colleges all over for diving, getting to see the different campuses through college tours and meeting all kinds of new people. It was really, really exciting. But I also recognize that the world of recruiting that you're currently in and the world that I was in back in the 90s are two very, very different worlds. I know that you are doing school, you're doing sports, trying to be recruited, you're choosing colleges, you're doing the applications, taking the tests. Maybe you're also doing social media management and you're working on NIL understanding and management as well. This is no small load. So if you're feeling a bit more stressed or maybe a lot more stressed, please know that that is no sign of weakness whatsoever. It's a sign that you care, that you're growing, and that you're juggling a lot of very complex demands right now. We all experience stress. The key is noticing when it becomes too much, too isolating, too overwhelming. Maybe it's starting to impact our functioning on a daily basis, our body, our mind, our performance, our relationships. So something to be mindful of during this time in particular is put mental health on your radar in the same way that you would track your injuries, your conditioning, your sleep, your nourishment. Very, very, very important during this time. So with that, let's talk about the three very common, very possible, very normal reactions that we could be having during this time: anxiety, depression, and acute stress. Let's start with anxiety. Some of the signs of anxiety could be constantly worried about performance, recruiting, or mistakes, difficulty sleeping, racing thoughts, feeling on edge, irritable, overwhelmed, physical symptoms like stomach aches, headaches, and faster heart rate, overthinking what coaches, teammates, or social media might think. All very normal signs of anxiety. Let's talk about signs of depression. That could include feeling a loss of motivation or enjoyment, even for things you usually love, feeling tired, heavy, or as many people might say, I don't feel quite myself right now. Pulling back from friends, teammates, and loved ones. Negative self-talk, feeling hopeless, or feeling like we're failing. Changes in sleep, maybe sleeping too much, maybe not sleeping enough, or appetite, eating too much, or not eating enough. And acute stress, or burnout, feeling like an emotional exhaustion, a lethargy, a fatigue, feeling like you're just going through the motions. Maybe it feels harder to concentrate in school, or there's increased mistakes or performance blocks. Feeling pressure from all directions, from coaches, parents, guardians, peers, social media. And let's talk about the impact of NIL and social media that adds to all this stress. That comparing ourselves to quote-unquote perfect versions of athletes online, the pressure to build a brand, look a certain way, or be marketable, confusion about what's real versus what's curated. We all know that the version we see of a person on social media is going to be their best self and not necessarily showing the entire real picture. And finally, feeling like you have to be on all the time, the energy, the up, the smiling. All of this can contribute to the stress that we're already having with school, doing college applications, the tours, the tests, and all the other things that we have in our current lives. So please know, any of these experiences do not mean that there's something wrong with you. Instead, let's take them as signals that we deserve attention and care. So here's a question that I get a lot. What do I do if I see signs in a friend or teammate? I'm going to teach you the 3 C's: check-in, care, and connect. Let's start with check-in. A very simple question. Hey, I've been thinking about you. You seem like you're going through a lot right now. How are you doing? That's all we have to start there. And then we go to care. Listen without trying to fix. You don't have the answers to their lives. You're just there to bear witness and to be with them. The goal here is to show our support and to send the message that you don't have to go through this alone. Then we go to connect, where we try to encourage them to go to a trusted adult or resources that would be helpful. Parent, guardian, coach, athletic trainer, mental health professional, a teacher, anyone that's there to listen and support along the way. What not to do? 3 things. 1, don't gossip. 2, don't pressure them to do the usual athlete thing, which is to just push through. In this case, we don't want to push through. We want them to lean into support. And number 3, if you're worried for their safety, do not carry it alone. Definitely go to the trusted adult or resource. The other question that I get is, what if I notice signs in myself? Here's some simple, very actionable strategies you can try. Number 1, slow down and just name it. Use an I statement. I feel stressed. I feel overwhelmed. Gosh, this feels more than usual. I'm feeling a lot right now. Naming it actually takes power away from it and reduces its intensity. Number 2, reset your nervous system. This can be done through a variety of different ways. 1, simple breathing, and it's free. Simply inhaling for 4 counts and exhaling for 6 counts can already engage in oxygenation of the system that can help bring calm. Second, step away from the phone and social media, at least for a while, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, a day. Give yourself a break from the things that can activate us. Third, move our body gently. Going outside, getting fresh air, going for a walk can be very, very helpful. Fourth, anything that is grounding. Listening to music, having a cup of tea, doing some mindfulness can be helpful in resetting the nervous system. Fifth, and probably actually most important, is simply asking yourself, what do I need right now? Starting with yourself is what's required in order to reset your nervous system. Number 3, talk to someone sooner, not later. Holding it all in is a little bit like a pressure cooker. And the more that we hold it in, eventually at some point, the pressure becomes too much and we can explode or implode. So try talking to a trusted adult, a trusted friend, a coach, school mental health person, mental health provider. The most important word here is trust. Feeling safe to be able to let out is the most important thing that you need. And finally, can we just give ourselves permission to adjust our expectations? You're allowed to rest. You need recovery and replenishment for all the things that you're doing right now that is asking for your energy, time, space, and mental capacity. And most important, you don't have to be perfect in order to be worthy of belonging or recruitment. You are wonderful as you are. The next question that I get that's very common is, when should I think about getting professional help? Here's a list of markers that might be helpful. When stress lasts more than a couple weeks, when it interferes with sleep, school, or sport, when you feel alone in it, when coping strategies aren't helping, when negative thoughts become more intense, when you feel pressure to be on all the time, when injuries, slumps, or setbacks affect your emotional health, when NIL and social media feels just like all too much. And especially if you ever have thoughts of hurting yourself, you deserve support immediately. Remember that mental and emotional health is health, just like our physical health. So seeing a therapist or counselor is kind of like seeing a coach for your mind. There's nothing wrong with you. Absolutely nothing wrong. And in fact, I think it takes a very strong person to be able to recognize that something is awry and I need care and support, and I'm going to go find it. So with that, the next question is how do I find support? If you're looking for support for yourself, if you have a trusted person in your life, that's a great person to start with. I think I need to talk to someone can be a very subtle yet powerful way to engage in a conversation with someone that can be with you during this time. If you're on campus, check out your school counseling office, maybe talk to an athletic trainer. They often have direct pipelines, a list of referrals and recommendations. You could talk to a physician. You can look at your school or insurance or district websites for a list of recommendations. For athletes in particular, there's a group called On Rise to look at, which are athlete-centered providers who absolutely understand what the athlete experience is about and provide therapy, psychiatry, and all kinds of other services. There's Psychology Today, Alma, Headway. There's so many of them. You can even just Google, how can I find a psychotherapist, a therapist, a mental health coach, a mental health counselor in my area? And if you come this far and you're thinking about a friend who might need some help, here's a few things you could try. One is you can offer to help them talk to someone. You can accompany them to a counselor or that trusted adult. And very, very important, if you're worried for your friend's safety, please tell a trusted adult right away, even if your friend asked you not to. If you're struggling to find resources in your area, you could try starting with the crisis hotline, 988. 988 is the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. You can also text HOME, HOME, to 741-741, and a person will be there to talk with you about what's going on and see if they can connect you with resources. And you can do an internet search to look at organizations that are serving specific populations, like LGBTQIA youth, teens, teen athletes, BIPOC youth, etc. And let's just wrap up this section with talking about some healthy social media habits. First, we don't need to feel worse. Follow people that are going to make you feel inspired, positive, cared for, supported. Especially when we're stressed out, limit that scrolling and the doom scrolling. And do not forget, people post their highlights, not their entire story. Let's bring it all home. You are more than your stats, your highlight reels, or your college commitments. Your mental health matters just as much as your grades, your training, and your recruitment process. Asking for help is strength. Supporting a teammate is leadership. You deserve to feel safe, supported, and connected, no matter where you are in your sport. I'm sending you all the good vibes and wishing you all the best in your journey. Take care.